Welcome to Lecture 2.4, Division with Fractions. So the first thing we need to do is get down some vocabulary so we know what we are discussing. I'm going to use quite a bit of vocabulary in this lecture. The first is reciprocal. A reciprocal are two numbers who, when you multiply them together, the result is 1. So two numbers whose product is 1. If A and B are numbers, and A is not 0, and B is not 0, then the reciprocal of A over B is B over A, because if you multiply the two together, A over B times B over A equals A times B over A times B, which the result is 1. So for example, 3/4, the reciprocal is 4/3, and the reason is, if you multiply them together, you have 3 times 4 over 4 times 3, 12 over 12 is 1. 9/5, the reciprocal is 5/9. Again, 9 times 5 is 45, 5 times 9 is 45, 45 over 45, 1. 1/3, the reciprocal is 3, because 1 times 3 is 3, and 3 times, remember, there's a 1 underneath the 3. 1 times 3 is 3, so 3 over 3 is 1. And last example, 7. The reciprocal is 1 over 7, so the reason being, 7 times 1 is 7, and 7 times 1, the implied 1, is 7, so 7 over 7 is 1. So what happens if the number is negative? Negative 2/3. Well, the reciprocal is a negative 3/2. Why? Because you have to get it to equal a positive 1. Therefore, negative 2 times negative 3 is 6, and 3 times 2 is 6, so 6 over 6 is 1. So just keep the sign if you need its reciprocal. So let's talk about actual division. So if A, B, and C and D are numbers, and B, C, and D are non-zero, then A over B divided by C over D is going to be the same thing as multiplying by its reciprocal. So A over B times D over C. So division is multiplying by this reciprocal of the divisor. So here's what I mean by the divisor here. If I write the original problem, A over B divided by C over D, if I write that in fraction form, a big fraction bar, it's going to be A over B divided by C over D. But this means I'm multiplying by the reciprocal of the divisor. And if you remember, the top number, the numerator is the dividend, and the denominator is the divisor. So I'm going to take A times B, I'm going to take the reciprocal of C over D, and bring it up to multiply. Now the result is AC over BD. So let's see an example. 1/2 divided by 1/4. So 1/2 divided by 1/4 is 1/2 multiplied by the reciprocal of 1/4, which is 4 over 1. Make sure that's 1. 1 times 4 is 4. 2 times 1 is 2. But 4 breaks down into 2 times 2, so we can reduce, and the solution is 2. Let's see another problem. 3/8 divided by 9/4. So 3/8 divided by 9/4 is 3/8 times 4/9. Let's break down the numerator into its primes and break down the denominator into its primes so we can see what we can reduce. So 3 is just a 3, but 4 is 2 times 2. 8 is 2 times 2 times 2, and 9 is 3 times 3. So I have a couple of 2's in common, and I have a 3 in common. leaving a 1 in the numerator, and 2 times 3 in the denominator. So our end result is 1/6. Now let's work one out completely. So 2/3 divided by 2, and I'm going to emphasize there is a 1 under the 2, is going to equal 2/3 times the reciprocal of 2 over 1, which is 1 over 2. I can see I can reduce, so I'm going to go ahead and reduce before I do my multiplication, and my result is 1/3. Let's try another one. 2 divided by -1/3. So I just want to rewrite the problem so I have some space to work with. Okay. And now I'm going to change it into multiplication. So it's going to be 2 times the reciprocal of -1/3 is -3, or 3 over 1. My end result is -6. Let's try another one. -4 over 27 divided by 16/9. So again, just going to rewrite the problem so I have some space to work with. And now I'm going to change it to multiplication. So -4 27ths. Always change the divisor, which will be the second number you're dividing by, to 9/16. I'm going to reduce now. 4 goes into 16 4 times. 9 goes into 27 3 times. I'm left with a -1 on the numerator and 3 times 4 on the denominator. Now if you remember, there's a couple of ways that we can write a negative fraction. One is to give the negative to the numerator, or the other way is to give it to the whole entire fraction. Traditionally, we do not just leave it in the denominator if it is in the denominator. We always move it to the numerator or give it to the whole fraction. So let's do a couple more problems here. So I'm going to continue along this line. 16 over 35 divided by 8. I'm going to change it into a multiplication problem. Times 8 is 8 over 1. So it's 1 over 8. I can reduce. 8 goes into 16 2 times. And my result, 2 times 1 is 2. And 35 times 1 is 35. Okay. Let's see another problem. 27 divided by 3/2 is the same thing as 27 over 1 times the reciprocal of 3/2, which is 2/3. I see I can reduce. 3 goes into 27 9 times. 9 times 2 is 18. 1 times 1 is 1, so my result is 18. The world doesn't revolve around numbers alone, so here is a type of word problem, and we need to decipher it. So if you remember, the quotient is the result of a dividend being divided by a divisor. So we have 8/3, and the quotient of 8/3 and 1/6 is increased by 5. So it is 8/3 divided by 1/6. This whole amount is increased, so plus 5. Now I'm going to rewrite the division as multiplication. So 8/3 times 6 over 1 plus 5. And I see I can do some reducing, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Now I'm left with 8 times 3. 24. 1 times 1 is 1, plus 5, so the result is 29. Now here's the problem. It looks very complex, but we're going to take it step by step. So we have 32 divided by 4/3 squared plus 75 divided by 5/2 squared. In our order of operation, the first thing we need to do here is the parentheses are just holders of what the number is. So the next thing we move on to is exponents. And we have 2 of them. So we have 32 divided by 4 times 4 is 16. 3 times 3 is 9 plus 75 divided by 5 times 5 is 25. 2 times 2 is 4. Now I'm going to rewrite the problem. Instead of division in the 2 places, I'm going to rewrite it as multiplication. 32 times the reciprocal, 9/16. I didn't need the parentheses, but just to have it. 75 times 4/25. Now can I reduce anything? I can. 25 goes into 75 3 times. 16 goes into 32 2 times. Now I have 2 times 9, 18, and 1 is just 1, so I'll leave it off. And then 3 times 4 is 12. Again, it's all over 1. So 18 times 12 is 30. So if you take it step by step, and you're patient and you're diligent, it does end up getting simplified down to just a simple number. So just remember your order of operations. Parentheses, exponents, multiplication and division from left to right, addition and subtraction from left to right. So of course we're learning this math so we can apply it to the outside world. So here's one way of applying division. So a clothing manufacturer is making scarves that require 3/8 yard of material each. How many can be made from 27 yards of material? So we have 27 yards of material, and each scarf requires 3/8 of a yard of material per scarf. Okay. Yard per scarf. Now it's division, but I can multiply by the reciprocal. So 27 yards times 8 scarf over 3 yard. Okay. Now I went ahead and labeled everything. You wouldn't necessarily have to, you just have to remember what you're solving for. But here's the reason why I labeled everything. Yards cancels out yards. It does. Remember, anything over itself is just 1, so yards will cancel out. 3 goes into 27 9 times, and we're left with 9 times 8 is 72 scarves. Now, the plural of scarf is not scarves. I mean, the plural of scarf is not scarfs. So I will spell it correctly. But that's the solution. Now you could have just worked with the numbers and said 27 yards divided by 3/8, which takes each scarf. Change it into multiplication. Still reduce. You're still going to end up with the same number, but you do need to answer the question, how many scarves can be made from 27 yards? So you do need to say scarves at the end. 72 scarves can be made. So until next lecture, be seeing you.